What up, people? It's your boy Master Trudy out here with another comic review. Been a while since I've done a floppy, but I gotta support good work, and of course, we got the first annual of Batman and the Outsiders. Brian Hill, doing his thing on the words and whatnot. Dexter Soy's doing the cover. Just another day without his art, but it's all good. He makes sure on Twitter I get my daily dose of it. But this book is pretty, simple, interesting, compelling. Get a little bit of backstory into Katana. It's essentially a Black Lightning and Katana story. And I know and I feel like there's a strategy behind what Brian Hill's doing because we haven't gotten a lot of Batman in Batman and the Outsiders. Some people say you should just call this the Outsiders, but to be fair, it's a good point, but it doesn't matter, it's still quite good. So let's delve into it. You got some backstory about a sorceress named Miyako, and that she fought her enemy, which was basically a demon named Sutomo, and they met on the shore. And she wanted to calm the world, and this guy, of course, wanted to take over the world. Yada yada yada. She burned him, and everybody here. We got a fantastic shot. Very good pan right here, of course. Brian Hill's the writer. Max Rayner is the artist, and I really like the art in this. It's fantastic, very good. And let's continue. So basically, she held evil in her hands, and then basically banished him. And we see that this is a story that is banished him into basically a Katana sword. So that's what we basically see. Katana telling Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning. So he's like saying, an evil demon lives in your sword and is hurting your husband, who also lives in the sword. It's like Sutomo seeks revenge for what my ancestor did to him, which is Princess Miyako. And so, magic or not, this is simple. And it's like, there's nothing simple about you, Tatsu. I didn't grow up believing in magic. And she's like saying magic is madness, calls him Raijin, because that's her name for him. It's like, they just basically discuss the legend. So, I'm assuming this takes place before they head after Ra's al Ghul, because I believe after the first issue, she was crying because she could hear her husband call out. Issue 1 or 2, I think it was issue 1. So basically, they're going down the street, and they're here to meet a contact of hers. They're in a store that sells weaponry right here, and so we see that she meets this woman right here and tells her that, look, I came to ask what to do about, I came for help from my husband. And she's like, okay, let me tell you something. Your destiny isn't concerned with your personal feelings, Tatsu. I don't, and, she's a criminal, she runs guns, and, she just pretty much explains that, look, Sutoma's awakening your sword, he seeks revenge against your bloodline. Your husband will suffer until you finish what your ancestors started, until you're meant to become what you're meant to be. Calls her sister, but they're not really sisters. They're born in the same village and, took different paths. And she's like, magic lives within you. It has defined your life, your pain, journey into the sword. And she's like, and Black Lightning is like, what does she mean meant to be? Care to break that down? And, Tatsu's like, it ain't worth listening to. But, she's pretty much saying that, look, you're going to have to kill yourself to accomplish the mission. And Black Lightning's like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. What's another option? And Tatsu's like, she's right. Pretty much I know what I have to do. Bam. So, pretty much she makes all sense of that. She knows what she has to do. She advises Black Lightning to, go back to America and lead the rest of the team. And he's like, I'm not leaving you. Meanwhile, Masayo's husband is still in the sword. His soul is in the Soul Taker's sword. And she's like, you're suffering, it's not my goal. Masayo's like, Tatsu will never serve you. And he's like, I don't need her to serve me. I need her to die, and I need your suffering to lead her to me. So he gives him some torture. So meanwhile, we see that Black Lightning, Tatsu, Brian Hill's really developing this bond. I really like how he's developing it right here. It's very nice, it's very subtle, but hardcore. It's very good. So, she just basically talks about, how magic can ruin reason, and she has to just accept or fate, but I like this conversation. It's like magic destroys reason. It's not a tool, it is a path. If Mayako's blood lines in my veins, then she is my fate. And you don't want that. I don't want any of this. I have made the best I could out of it. I can tell what you see. I can tell you what I see when I look at you, Tatsu. And it's like saying, I see someone struggling to be more than the violence that created her. You love your husband. You hate the forces that have kept you apart. And we just see that magic is a world that forces you can never understand. I didn't tell all of Miyako's story. She did banish Tsutomu, but the act drove her insane. And I would prefer not to be insane. And by saying I won't let that happen. You might not have the power to affect that. This place is fine, and so she chooses this place to die, but she just tells a nice story of how, when she was a child, she would climb the cliffs of Tonjimbo, and she loved the sea, and she felt like the wind was calling to her, and the wind called her to jump, and it felt like a song, and she wanted to jump, and, she felt like she would like to see herself fall smiling, but she never did, and she never, I hope the song would leave me, the voice of need, but, she felt that it would never leave her. If you want to know the noise, it's the heat. It's pretty cold in here. So, we see that, I don't understand why you're telling me this, and she says that I feel there's like a darkness that is a part of me that wants to die, not out of sadness. There's a feeling that I cannot explain, and Blacklight said, look, you don't have to explain it, you just have to defeat it. And she's like, I hope the love for my husband set me free. It's not, so I'm telling you, when I believe you when I say this, that she doesn't want to die. So she commits seppuku right here. Very good to detail. And, Black Lightning is like, oh my gosh, dang. And Tatsu basically tells Black Lightning, like, look, the sword's going to take me. I need you to protect my body. And if I succeed, I'll return. And so she dies. And Black Lightning's like, what do I got to protect you from? And then we see some demon mist coming, so So she's falling, and she goes ahead and then meets her ancestor. You are the last of my bloodline. You're going to finish what I've started. It's like, you can see me, you can hear me because we share blood, but here I have no power. Tsutomu awaits you. He sees you now, and the sails with him. Wait, and he will come. In this world, it's like at another. So we see that Black Lightning's going to have to fight these demons. He's trying to do his lightning thing, but they just keep coming. They go and tackle him. He's like, oh my gosh, man, dang. Then you feel the power. We share. Give it to yourself. And she's like, no, I want to brace you. Then Tsutomu will win. You have no power here. Katana. So we just see that Masao is there. Katana goes all wild. She starts hacking down the opposition, but the opposition is just not going down. Meanwhile, Black Lightning's also having problems. They're just taking and fighting him, and they're trying to get to Tatsu's body. I don't know what they did to my man here, but they just shoved a whole fist up his throat, down his throat, whatnot. Tatsu is getting beaten down, but then she realizes that her husband is the voice that's been talking to her head. You have always known me. You're standing on the edge of a cliff, Tatsu, but the voice is not telling you to die. I'm telling you to change. Will you accept what I am, what you can be? Yes. Be the vessel, serve the blood. Who are you? And then she finally admits that I am Tatsu Yamashiro, descendant of Miyako. I am the legacy. Then let us finish this. So we see that she gets powered up. Her sword starts going red and she's ready to throw down. But then we see that it's starting to affect the demons as well. And Black Lightning is like, okay, cool. And then he just overloads the whole cliff. And then she faces Tsutomu. And they get ready to throw down samurai style. But of course, as they go in, all comes down to one slice. And Tatsu makes the killing blow, cuts off his head, bam. We then see that it's like, he's free. And he knows, but I cannot stay. And I know, share one last embrace. And then she comes back to the real world and then takes down the rest of the opposition. Bam. Like a badass. We get to the last part where, she thanks Black Lightning for protecting her. No. and she pretty much says that, look, I'm changing and I'm standing on a cliff, and the voice is still with me, but I would like another voice I can trust. And Black Knight saying, don't worry, you got my voice. And that's the end of that. Okay, that's a solid story. You know, it has a good amount of character development, you know, building a little side mission. I'm sure we're all ready to get back to the main plot, but this was not bad at all. Give this a good 9 out of 10. Really love Black Lightning and Katana's relationship. It might grow, it might not, I feel, and I'd hope it would grow, you know, kind of two people who have gone through a rough patch in their lives here and there, but have decided to move on, and they trust each other. And let's see what happens with that. But, once again, thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notifications. Make sure you're notified. Once again, I do these reviews for you, the people. Just want to discuss good comics, get your views on them. Make sure you're subscribed. Thank y'all for watching, and I should have more videos up later in the day. Peace.